Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show today on the Wholesale Real Estate Investing Show, number 235 today by SAHA. That is us. We are Sell a House Arizona. We are Save a House America, whatever you want to call us, as long as it goes with SAHA. That's who we are. This is Wisdom Wednesday on March 16th, 2016. And I think we got a pretty good topic for you guys here today that you're going to kind of get a little excited about, because this is definitely one of the biggest holdups that people have in their thought process, in their getting started in their wholesale real estate business, their real estate investing business. And, it's definitely something that people have a big hang up about. And living proof right here. We had a hang up about it, but it's a very interesting concept that we're going to go into. But first of all, I want to let John say good morning to everybody here. Let us know where you're hanging out from, John. Invite everybody to join us. And yeah, what's up?
Yo, welcome to the show. I'm glad to be on the Hangout. I love doing these Hangouts with Paul. It's Wisdom Wednesday. I came here completely unscripted. I have no idea what Paul's going to be bringing up today, which is awesome because I'm on the spot. I got to get my mind working. I got to get the blood flowing. I got to be able to adapt to whatever it is Paul wants to talk about today. And apparently he has something that he's real excited to share with you guys. And I'm sure, because I'm just that awesome and this confident, that I'll be able to contribute greatly to the conversation. So with that, welcome to the show.
That's it's actually kind of funny that you say that, because half the time, especially like when I know that you're going to be here, like, and I wasn't sure you were going to be here today or not, so this was kind of an interesting one. But I definitely sort of geared this one towards actually, we're both getting good at this actually right now, but a specialty area that's been developing for both of us in the recent past 6 months, basically. And so I just want to go back to the fact of what I said here, that it's a big hang up for a lot of people who are getting into this business, because one of the biggest fears about wholesale real estate is, what if I get stuck? What if I'm in a position where I have to buy this house, or I have to perform, or I can't get a buyer, or so that whole thought process there of what if I get stuck presents a fear of actually getting a contract in the first place. And so a fear of getting a contract in the first place obviously can trickle all the way down to the very beginning of even getting started, because, oh my God, if I get a contract, then I got to perform on the back end, and this whole thing. So one of the big factors that can eliminate that, obviously, would be what? I mean, pretty simple: money, right? And so the accumulation of money, acquiring money into your system. And when I mean acquiring money, I mean OPM. Everybody always talks about OPM. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's other people's money, so one of the ways too, where the whole, doing this business without any of your own money, not needing any money to do this business, all kind of comes into play into what you hear about, how easy wholesale real estate business is. But you know what? It takes a mindset to be able to gather and use OPM. And especially in today's world where, so many people have been brought up their whole lives, lived their whole lives, where you have to be independent and you need to do everything all on your own and that sort of thing. The whole idea of borrowing money, except for the weird thing is borrowing money when it comes to using a credit card or purchasing a car, or or maybe a house through the traditional methods, borrowing from the bank, all of those sorts of things, from the traditional, corporate sort of structures, doesn't seem to bother us any. It's like, oh, we got some middleman professional who can tell us that this is okay. I'll go ahead and do it and put myself in debt that way. But when it comes to the whole idea of leveraging money, not borrowing it, but leveraging it by using other people's money, to create money, to create success, to build wealth, to build an income, and all of those things, then there's a whole different mindset that takes place that falls, you know, that we don't understand. It doesn't make sense to us. It's foreign, you know, because we've never borrowed money from anybody other than, you know, a structured situation. So borrowing from a person becomes a whole different world. And the whole idea of OPM and other people's money, you just got to consider it from the very beginning when you're starting to, you know, learn about your stuff in wholesale real estate and how to comp properties and how to do all these other things, that how to obtain OPM as just another tool in your toolbox.
You know, okay, this is a great topic actually, because this is really what's going to grow your business and take your wholesale business to the next level, allow you the ability to do more deals, because it frees you mentally when you know you've got money behind you. And it's not just when you first start out in this business and you don't have all the ducks in a row, so to speak, like you're out there on your own, you're about to do your first deal. There's a lot of things going on in your mind. Okay, well, if they say yes, how do I contract? Then what title company do I use? Did I make the right offer? How do I find a buyer? I can't find a buyer, but this is a great deal. How do I find the money? I think something that a lot of wholesalers overlook in the beginning is if you want to scale your business and do volume, you're going to have to be prepared. And if you want to maximize each and every deal so you can make the most money, you're going to have to maximize the most that you can, the most that you can get out of a deal, which means you're going to have to start getting in a position to, you could still wholesale them, pulling them down using OPM. You do a little cleanup on a property and you could sell it. Now you're making $10,000 more because you were in that position to pull the property down. But it's more than that. It gives you the comfort and the confidence to go in and make offers, because you know that you've got yourself covered on that back end, and you have the ability to raise money. It completely changes your business.
Yeah, of course it does. You know, like I said, confidence is everything. And as we've talked about, I think on some previous shows, that, that seller can smell your desperation when you walk into that house. If you're walking in there with that feeling of, I gotta get this deal, I gotta get this deal, I gotta get this deal, otherwise I don't know what I'm gonna do. They can smell that. They don't know what's gonna happen. And it's gonna be an awkward interaction that is probably going to leave you without a deal. Whereas when you walk in there with that confidence of knowing I've got the money, I don't have to worry about, if I don't get this deal, there's another deal. I'd love to have this deal. Of course, it's a great deal, but hey, if this guy's not willing to play ball, then, I move on because, I got that money. I mean, I don't have to worry about the fact that what's going to happen if it doesn't work out. So confidence is a huge factor that, having the ability to use other people's money is, that will instill into you. So that's why I say, using that. And it's very, very interesting. Even not so long ago, I was listening to a guy, and one of the questions that I asked him was, what would be one of the first things that you would tell people to do in getting started in starting their business in flipping houses? He was talking about house flipping, not necessarily about wholesaling. He was talking about actually, buying properties from auction and flipping houses. And I said, what would be one of the first things, pieces of advice that you would give somebody to, to put their focus on? And he was all about raising money, getting money. You know what I mean? You want to use other people's money. So, and that was a little bit of a mind twist for me right there. So it was like, oh wow, I never really thought about the fact of getting other people's money as a primary activity. I always thought of it as a, somewhere down the road, that piece is going to come into play, and then we'll start looking at that. That's kind of always the way I looked at it. I never really looked at it from the very beginning, focusing on other people's money.
Absolutely. That's probably part of the reason why it took you and I a couple of years to really get the business up and running, because we were a little bit myopic in our thinking that way. But that's, what's so awesome about having a mentor or getting educated or, networking and meeting and having conversations with a lot of people that are already doing it and successful, because that speeds along your own growth and it opens your eyes and gives you those aha moments. Because one of the things that got me interested in wholesaling in the first place was I went to a seminar for free one night, and they talked about other people's money, hard money, and how to get deals financed without using any of your own money. And I thought to myself, I'm like, I've never heard this before. And this was back 5 years ago now at this point. I'm like, I never heard this before. I always thought that the investors that were buying and flipping homes had like millions and millions of dollars in their bank account. I don't know why it never occurred to me that they were borrowing from a hard money lender and using a gap funding from this private money, and they had little, if any, of their own money tied up in any one deal. That concept kind of blew me away. But then when I got into the business and saw the wholesale side, just like Paul said, I just thought that, okay, raising the money and finding lenders, that'll come in time. Right now we're doing this. You know what's awesome about being part of a team that's already there doing it successfully? They can show you the right mindset, the right things to do right out the gate. So the day one that you start wholesaling, you're not just, you're like, all right, I've got a team that's teaching me how to go out and find a deal. Great. But on top of that, I'm watching what they do after they get their contract. I'm seeing how they're raising the funds. I want to raise funds. Oh, they're offering me compensation for bringing funds into a deal. All these different things that being part of a team can offer to speed along your growth process. And the money raising thing is just one of the things that I wish Paul and I, when we first started, had a mentor that could have showed us from day one how important it was to raise money.
You know what? I think one of the things you said there was that not thinking that people were using money to do all this stuff, that they actually had the money. And I think thinking about the whole idea at that point in time, right? Thinking about the whole idea of, oh my God, hard money, 15, 18%, that's ridiculous. Who's going to want to use that kind of money? You know what I mean? But it's really not all that much money when it comes down to, you know, the short-term action of doing wholesale real estate and or flipping houses. So that's why I think that was a big factor too in the whole thinking of the expense of that money. Oh, that's ridiculous. Why would anybody pay for all that? I don't understand why people would do that. How are those guys making any money, kind of a thing? And then there's also kind of a catch-22 in this as well too, in the initial thinking of, you know, wanting to use other people's money, in that, you know, you're thinking that, well, who's going to want to loan me money? A guy who's never done a deal in the first place, kind of a situation where, you know, they're going to want to know, they're going to want to see that I've got some experience, I know what I'm doing first, you know. So there's kind of a catch-20, and that is maybe to a certain extent true with some people. So there is kind of a catch-22 thing going there of, you know, hey, go get money first, but who's going to give you money if you don't know what the hell you're doing, kind of a thing. So, and then, the other thing that you mentioned there was the fact of working with a team, and somebody who can show you as a new person kind of how to fast track the use of these things and that sort of thing. But also on top of that, joining a team where you can actually leverage that stuff that they already have in place to utilize and to build upon your own business is another big, huge plus. So yeah, teamwork and leveraging is huge.
Well, what's the old saying? The teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes,
it does. It's actually a very true, relevant statement. You know, when Paul and I first got into wholesale real estate, I had taken a seminar. Okay. And I signed up for further education at the seminar. Yes, I'm guilty. I'm one of the people that ran to the back of the room to drop another almost 7-8K on a wholesaling course and some program that was supposed to be the best real estate comp program ever. I did I ever show you that software I got? It was pretty lame.
But it was enough to kick you in the ass and get you going in the right direction.
Exactly. And when I met Paul, he had done a bunch of real estate seminars himself in the past, but we were both brand new in wholesale. And we probably came together because we were right around the same stages, probably mentally and business-wise, and still working our JOBs. So we clicked because we were like on the same level. Now, I think for Paul and I, it worked out really well. But for most people that are starting on the same level together at something, very rarely succeed because birds of a feather flock together. Paul and I, actually what brought us together is the fact that we had persistence, and we were very bullheaded, and we were going to make this work despite, angry wives and going through divorces and everything else. I bring that up because that was what I think attracted Paul and I, made us successful. But we're in the business 5 years in the making, and we're a success day by day, and no one's a success overnight. One day you wake up and you're like, wow, I'm successful. And you're like, well, it took me 5-10 years to become an overnight success. I love that saying. But you don't have to wait. The point is, you don't have to wait that long, because what Paul and I really were new to this whole mindset thing of go and find people who are already doing it and watch them, observe them, work with them, and join them. You don't have to do this stuff on your own. In fact, trying to do it on your own is the wrong way. It's the long way, and it's the hard way.
It kind of goes into the hangout we just had, the discussion we just had on the other hangout too, which we didn't really get into this aspect of it, but the whole idea of the shift in the world today being towards the fact that, we were all raised that, you got to be independent. You got to do all this all on yourself. You got to do everything all on your own, and nobody's going to help you. Nobody wants to help you. It's all, the world you create is going to be yours. But there is a shift going on. There is a different mindset nowadays, and it basically got, and here again, it revolves around the internet and the fact that there's so much knowledge and information and things to know that, moving forward, no one person can do it all or know it all. You have to have other people in today's world moving forward if you want to be successful. And that's a shift that a lot of people can't get a grip on, especially, the older you are, because obviously the older you are, the more ingrained those old thought processes are, and making a shift like that is a difficult thing. Fortunately for me, I have a very young mind at an older age, and I have always been open to new and everything that is happening. And for me, I think a shift in this world is exactly what I've been waiting 30 years for. So I don't know how that comes into play, but as far as money goes, but yeah, my whole mind shift, my whole thought processes, everything has changed from 10 years ago, and the way that I thought about things, the way that I do things, and all of that. And looking for money and asking people, not necessarily asking people for money. We don't ask people for money. We just show people what we're doing and showing them that, hey, if you have money, your money could be doing this. And I mean, that's all we do. We're not asking anybody for any money. And that's kind of, I think, a different thing right there. Is that's kind of like the crossover is in the very beginning of thinking about wholesale real estate and, needing and wanting to use other people's money, it's from that I got to do it all on my own sort of mentality that I have to go out and ask people to, for money. And you don't have to ask people for money. You just have to basically be able to show people how their money can work, and they'll be the ones they'll be asking if you'll take it.
That's so true. Once you are identified in your community or your niche or your market as the person with deals that is doing stuff regularly, the people crawl out of the woodwork to work with you and come to you with things. It's so funny you bring that up, Paul, because money has been raising other people's funds is now one of my biggest focuses this year. You know why I love it? How do you raise private funds from a private lender? Usually it's over dinner or over lunch or, over beers or over coffee or something like that. And it's really, it's again, very much like my system for I'm sorry, I'm a little slow today. Let me speed up my brain. It's very similar to my system for working with sellers, as far as when I meet with the seller, my goal is to sit with them for 1 hour and only talk about real estate for 15 minutes so I can build that connection. It's the same exact thing when you're with a private lender who wants to invest money in one of your deals. Is they really just want to feel comfortable with you, nothing more. The returns are the returns. 12% on their money makes sense because they're not getting that anywhere else. In fact, it works out to be, for our lenders, it works out to be quite higher than 12% on their money, but still something that works out quite well for us and them. And that's the same process. You're building rapport, you're building the relationship. If you sit with that private money lender for an hour, you're probably only talking about the money, the transaction for 15 minutes out of that hour. The rest of the time spent is getting to know them, building rapport, making them feel comfortable and trust you. And that's how simple it is. I bring this up because
there will be real estate related topics peppered in throughout that first 45 minutes, but it's not the main topic.
And it could just be your exchange about the market, getting to know his point of view on what he feels the market's doing in real estate. Right now is a hot time. So many people are dumping money in real estate. And I brought up the point that, like, once you have the deals and you're starting to work with private lenders, you know what private money lenders have, Paul, besides money?
I don't know. What?
Friends with money.
Oh, God, good, yes.
So I literally had somebody call us Monday when Paul and I were having our weekly meeting with our operations manager in the office, and we had just done a transaction with a new lender, and he's really excited about it. And he gave my number to somebody who called me up and was literally wanted to meet up on Saturday. And the woman's like, should I bring my money with me? I'm thinking, bring it in ones and fives. I'm like, no, you're going to meet me first and we got to have a transaction. And I was just so shocked. Like, this woman already trusted me because of word of mouth. And that's another thing to think about here. Just, okay, should I bring my money when I meet you on Saturday? Like,
yeah, meet me at the Porsche dealer. Yeah, that is so funny. We had a real good laugh with that one. We went off on some very, very funny tangents with that about bringing the money in small bills in a brown duffel bag and waiting on the corner of 34th for the phone call, and we'll tell you where to meet. But yeah, no, that's a very, very good point, that people with money have friends with money and word of mouth. And the next thing you know, you get a couple of things, get a couple of people into a, very lucrative situation with their money. And what do you think they're going to be talking to their friends about? They're going to be telling their friends and everybody they know, oh my gosh, I just freaking put, $40,000 into this deal with these guys, and I'm going to make X amount of money over the next 2 or 3 months or 6 months or 12 months or however the deal's structured, and I'm going to be getting X percent, and if this thing happens, it's going to go up to this percent, and they're doing things this way and that way, and then people are going to be like, really? Can I do that? Well, yeah, I'm sure you can. It's like the next thing you know, you don't have to go out looking for the money. The money starts looking for you. And that's really where a shift comes into play. And like I said, so here's a couple of different levels we've gone through here, just in what we've been talking about. In the beginning, money is crazy expensive and ridiculous, and why would I want to do that? And who's going to lend me money because I don't have any experience, right? And then you have the whole idea of now not asking for money, but just kind of showing people, talking about what the money can do in a situation. So you're not asking anybody for their money. You're not having to go out and say, hey, do you have money? Do you want to put it into a deal? You're not doing that. You're just talking about how money in a deal works. And it draws their interest, and then next thing you know, you got your first person in there, and then you've got the people that you brought in now out telling their people what their money's doing, and now all of a sudden the money's coming to you. So that's sort of the transitional flow there. And like I said, just considering getting raising money, private money especially, raising money as another tool in your toolbox that you need to keep sharp and shiny and ready to go to work. And if you consider those sort of 3 simple steps right there of breaking away from, first of all, the wrong thought process about it, and then just how to talk about what money does in a deal, to all of a sudden having the money come to you. Pretty exciting stuff. It
is pretty exciting stuff. I'm glad that you brought this topic up today, because I think it's very important when you get into wholesaling, and you consider if this is something you're going to do long term. You've got to have multiple exit strategies for each and every deal. Most people start off wholesaling with what? The intention of getting enough money to start flipping deals, retail deals, meaning that's why I got into it. I got into wholesaling because I'm like, okay, I'm going to flip my first couple houses, and I'm going to take the money that I got for flipping those houses, and then I'm going to invest in my first rehab project. And then when I flip that rehab project, I'm going to have even more money to put into another rehab project. That is what everybody gets into wholesaling, because they have no money and they look at it as an easy way to make money without money. And for the most part, they're semi-correct, because as Paul and I point out to everybody, it takes money to find the deals. It might only be $100 deposit to turn around and assign it, but you got to find it, right? But here's the point. You could be doing retail flips right now with $0 in your bank account. If you're creative, you don't need to start wholesaling. Actually, that's the wrong mindset. Everybody comes to wholesaling with a broke mindset, that I'm going to wholesale to make money to get into bigger, better things. It doesn't occur to them prior to getting into wholesaling that, wait, I need to meet people with money and raise money, because I can start buying fix and flip properties today. I don't have to wholesale first. I'm saying wholesale is a great way to make quick money fast with no money. Yes. But everybody, I'm not just about everybody comes in with the wrong broke mindset. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. And like I said, here again, it all falls back into the whole idea of, having to do everything on your own. If I'm going to do this, I got to have my own money, and that's a mindset shift that is, I think, obviously the biggest barrier that has to be broken through in the whole idea of using someone else's money. I mean, imagine coming into, simple enough, to start with, and sure, you're going to go to a hard money lender. They're going to loan based on the deal and on you. Now, your experience, yeah, you can walk into a hard money lender and you might get turned down because you've never done a deal before. But for the most part, you're probably going to be, they'll be like, okay, well, you know what? I'll tell you what, you've never done a deal before. We're still willing to loan you money. We're just not going to loan you as much. Okay. They'll still make the loan most likely. You're just not, instead of 90% of the loan of the purchase price, or 80% of the purchase price, maybe they're only going to give you 70% of the purchase price. That just means you need a little bit more money on the front end. So now you're in a position where you're like, okay, I've got part of the back end, I've got part of this thing set up, this whole money thing set up. How do I go ahead and get other money? Well, if you have your eyes on a deal, right? Now, maybe you're not even going to get this deal. I mean, even if you're just going off the MLS, for instance, let's say you got your eyes on a deal, you can just be showing and talking to people about, hey, look, I got a guy that's going to loan me the money. I got a guy that's going to loan me money on this deal here, and here's the property, and here's what's going to go on with it, and yada, yada, yada. And once I get the loan, I just need X amount of money to get into it, this sort of thing, whatever the case might be. And you just show people how that money works in the system. And, it's like, there's another piece of money that's required to make this deal happen. and basically that's on the front end to close this up, and somebody on a short-term thing, and this, that, and the other thing, and blah, 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 and whatever the case goes. And you're just telling people about how that goes. And like I said, maybe you don't get that deal. It doesn't matter. Just getting the whole idea out there. And like I said, this could be your very first deal, but just talking to people about how deals work, just being able to express that you know enough about how deals work is going to get somebody interested enough to say, I'd be very interested in putting my money into that.
Absolutely. Sorry, I kind of got off on a tangent there a little bit in my own thinking about everything you're saying there. But yeah, I'm really thinking how important it is how important it is to start day one shifting your mindset when you get into the wholesale real estate business. And that's advice for you new people. A lot of the guys we know that have been doing this business for a number of years are already on to the next level of raising money and understanding really what OPM is. Because thinking you know it and then really knowing it means you're doing it. And for me and Paul, we knew about OPM probably from day one getting into the wholesale business. But did we really know? Because it took us years to start actually applying it. Our first 2 years, we didn't take down a single deal. And then we started small, and now we're looking at how can we take down every single wholesale deal that we contract, because our mind shift has gone to now I know what OPM means because we're actually out there raising it and using it. So you don't know what you don't know, and just because you think you know it, if you're not actively doing it, you don't know anything. So join a team. When you get involved, get your mind right. Think about all these different mindset things that Paul and I talk about when you get into wholesale real estate. And you know what? Look for a team. Look for someone that can help build you. Look for a mentor so that they can help you grow faster, so it doesn't take you 5 years to get to the point Paul and I did. Our goal and what we're helping people do is actually get to a point within their first year that tops Paul and I's first 3 years in the business. So, but that comes from work from these people coming on board and having the opportunity to work with people with experience. So that's kind of my final thought for the day. So why don't you take it from here, Paul, and kind of close us out?
That's it. Yeah. I'm just going to close it out by saying that it is all about the mindset and the way you think about things. And, all the way from getting the money to getting the deals to finding the buyers to closing the deals to selling the deals to making the money to doing the rehabs. I mean, every piece of it is a whole new way of thinking for you guys that are coming into this wanting to do, wholesale real estate and real estate investing and everything else. And you just got to be open to that. If you're open to that, you have an opportunity to be successful at it. And if you've got somebody who is able to help you and move you along, joining a team, leveraging other people's knowledge, experience, and assets and tools and all of those things, it's just going to accelerate everything that you have. You're just going to have that much more of a potential chance for success. And with that, hey, send us an email to propertynoodlers@gmail.com. And, oh, universe, I ask not for more riches, but for more wisdom, with which to make better use of the riches given to me at birth, consisting of the power to control and direct my own mind to whatever end I might desire. Everybody make it a great Wisdom Wednesday, and we will see you back here on Freedom Friday, where outside of a Hawaiian shirt, I don't know what you're going to get.